Hello and welcome to this very special interview. A bit more of a different chat today. It's more of a conversation than it is an interview. Andy, thank you for inviting me to your workplace. I'm sure we'll have a conversation about that at some point throughout our chat. Andy, I wanted to speak to you a little bit about last month. Have you even had a chance to reflect on the happiness and the success that you've had over the last 10 days?
I suppose yes and no, but I've felt this before. I mean, it's been weird because this time last week we were kind of, we just played in the second round of the FA Cup and got through to the third round of the FA Cup, and this time, tonight we're focusing on the third round. So it kind of you didn't have much time to kind of reflect, and then in between that we've had a league game as well.
Yeah.
So we were kind of preparing this time last week on the Thursday for Solihull Sporting on the Sunday. So it's hard to take it all in. It was a bit of a whirlwind. I've mentioned that many times, but it was 10 days or 2 weeks, I should say, because there was a lot of prep that went in before that. That I'll never forget. It was a great occasion, regardless of who it was against. That added a little bit of an emotion to it, but the actual occasion itself and the fans and the 650 and the build up to that was just incredible, and it was one of the moments that I'm really pleased for the group. They got to experience. So I haven't come down yet, so I don't think whether that'll happen after Sunday. But then the week after we've got Shifnal. It's just constant, and that's what we love, isn't it?
Yeah, I remember you saying to me about a year or so ago, because it was so bang, 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 you never actually got a chance to sit back and remember that the two finals that you've been to in the past and the promotions, and I suppose, are you giving your players a chance to say to them, look, enjoy these moments? Are you getting a chance to do that?
Yeah, because I've been there and I've experienced the two sides of it, haven't I? It was the one thing that made me love football, but it was the one thing that kind of made me fall out of love of it, a year and a half ago. And I have to keep reminding, even this morning or yesterday morning, putting out to the group really that I have to keep reminding them that they've got to really just embrace these moments, because they go so quickly. Yeah. You forget about them. You got to embrace every moment of it, and that's kind of what I'm driving with the group at the moment. And last week and the build up to that was something they needed to really embrace and take on. It's just difficult because 24 hours later you're straight away focusing on something else. Yeah. And it's the same this week. We are focusing on a championship side. In the third round of the FA Cup, in the first year of us all being together. Regardless of old players coming back and working with me, it's still a new bunch, and I would never have thought of this 3 months ago. When you look at that first result in the league to where we are now, it's been an exceptional ride. So they've got to enjoy it regardless what happens as a result. They've got to enjoy it and embrace every moment for them, because that's what it's about.
In the build-up to the game, obviously you was focused on the match. I think everybody else was focused on the occasion, and rightly so. It was a massive occasion, and you obviously had a job to do. I guess now that the game is over, just what were your thoughts as soon as you was drawn out the hat with Stourbridge?
I was here. I was stood in the canteen with with 400 kids supervising us, always am, and it was actually put in. When the FA Cup draws come in, I remember it was Stourbridge, you kind of refreshing the FA Cup page. Yeah. So I got the FA Cup page refreshed, and I got my phone out and I was looking at it, but I'd gone a page ahead. So the draw had been made, we put on news, and I had to put Stourbridge, and I remember having to go to him, because I remember going, you're joking about it, don't joke about it. And he's like, no, Fish, it's Stourbridge at home. And then I saw it, he put a clinch, and I just thought, wow, and it was just a message after message, and Twitter had gone off, and so it was just a bit wild. But in the mix of that, we had a game we needed to focus on still, but then obviously we had a couple of games cancelled. We'd had the snow. Yeah. For me, the most important thing for me was that we had a job to do, and if I let the occasion get to me, that was going to filter out the players, and I felt that the night before in training. I've said to you, but prior to that, I had to focus on forgetting about who it was against, that it wasn't about Andy Fisher, and it wasn't about Stourbridge and Andy Fisher. It was about the match itself. And I hadn't slept for the moment we had the draw, and the moment we played the game that we had in between. I can't remember who it was. Who did Port Vale? You know, yeah, it was. You know, because Port Vale knew it was going to be a tough game away. The moment that was done, it was footage after footage, and every night, John, I've watched footage of Stourbridge leading up to that, because I had one focus, because I generally felt, you know, after watching the footage, I generally felt that we had the qualities to kind of give Stourbridge a game. Did I feel we could get through? There was part of me, but I was still respectful, because I still felt that Stourbridge had players that could really punish us, and they did second half a little bit. So it was just purely focused on making sure we identified areas that I felt we could beat Stourbridge, and identified areas that I felt Stourbridge could hurt us, and that was the focus. Yeah. So it was work. It was meticulous mentality, and you know, I kind of drive with that with everything I do, and you know, that's what we did. We focused purely on 24/7 on how we were going to win the game, as opposed to the occasion. But the players had the occasion. For the players, it was the occasion, or what you lot did on social media. It was for them to enjoy, for them to experience. You know, being almost a professional, you know, in front of 650 fans and having that occasion. So it was two different feelings across the camp. The night before was a very, very weird sensation, because you could feel the tenseness. I was very tense. You know, I didn't feel like we overly trained well that night before. We were kind of finalising our final bits, set pieces, that kind of stuff. So I was a bit panicky, but you know, the occasion itself said it all, and it was great from the build-up, leading up to it, and everything that happened on the night was just great. Penalties itself was brilliant, wasn't it?
Well, that's it. Yeah, we'll talk about that shortly as well. But result aside, did you get everything out of it that you wanted to?
No,
and do you think it could have been even better, or do you think it could have been better than you expected?
I tell you what I didn't do. I didn't engage with the fans as much as I would have liked to, but it was difficult, because I kind of do I play my cards here? We knew we'd changed formation quite early on, once we got the team sheet. So we prepped for two things really. Prepped for two scenarios within the week leading up to it. We knew then by the team sheet that we felt there was a formation change with Stourbridge. So I kind of didn't get out and embrace the atmosphere as early on, because I was in the training rooms looking at tactics and setting a change.
We saw videos of that actually.
So I was having to change things and making sure that we got everything right. So I kind of got half an hour out or 20 minutes out with the group and the atmosphere. But I wish I'd spent a bit more time with maybe some of the fans and some of my close friends who were there. You know, people like Cal. You didn't get that opportunity to kind of embrace that. So, and then it was kind of just match focus. It was just. But the match itself was fantastic. You know, I felt like it was just a great occasion. It was, you know, I felt like our performance second half probably needed a little bit more in it, but we rode it through. And then to go to penalties, and once you're on the winning side of penalties, it's absolutely fine, isn't it, to be on that? It was the best way for a neutral, for the whole occasion, for it to happen, to then have those celebrations we had at the end. For me, that the whole match itself was great, but I enjoyed it absolutely, and that for me was a once in a lifetime opportunity, because that moment probably won't happen again. If Stourbridge and Kinnington to play each other again and I'm involved, it won't have that same. No, it's happened. Yeah. You know, the final. There's a line now. I'm no longer the previous manager really, in a sense. So, you know, we move on. The occasion's done, and I enjoyed, and I know the players did enjoy every moment of it. And full respect to the people around Stourbridge, because it was respectful. The whole match itself was the way I wanted it to be. And I said early on to the chairman there, the vice chairman there, it needs to be what it needs to be, and both clubs need to embrace and respect each other regardless of history, etc.
Yeah. You mentioned like players. I want to highlight 3 players to you, and these are just who I've been thinking about, who would have really benefited from that game in regards to having their moment. So I'm going to give obviously everyone at the moment to win, but when I say these names, hopefully you'll understand the reason why. So I'm going to start off with Elle McGovern, Big Mac. You know, that was kind of like a champagne moment, and you've known Elle for a good number of years. She's never in the limelight. She's not a goal scorer, she's not a goalkeeper. She's scored some fantastic free kicks over the years when he was at Stourbridge together. But for her to score that winning penalty, that was her champagne moment, and I don't think she gets the credit she deserves off fans and just over the years, because she's so quiet and she just gets on with it. A very professional player, but that was her champagne moment. What was your thoughts on that?
I think she's getting it now.
Yeah.
I think she's getting the recollection now. You know, we're changing the position. We've changed the position on what we ask her to do, Kiddie, and I think she's even excelled to where maybe she was at Stourbridge for us, and she proved it that night playing against the players that she did. She deserves everything she gets because she's a top person. She's a top player. You know, she never moans. She never grumbles. She just gets on with it. She's committed. She's there week in, week out. You know, I think she kind of didn't get the game time at Stourbridge in Tier 3. She kind of then went to Cowes and it didn't really work out. And you know, she was one of the first people I went to. You know, I spoke to Andy Mulligan at Cowes, so I said, listen, you know, when I take the Kiddie job, she's the first one I want to. And he was great with her, and we got her over, and she's just exceptional in every way, John. You know, and I'm be careful what I say because I don't want people to come in for her. But she's committed to me. She's committed to the group. She's loyal, and she's just lovely. I can't.
Yeah.
The words can't explain it, what, you know, how good she is. She's a bit like a little Beth, really. You know, they just get on with it, and they're great. They're great players, and for her to take that winning goal, you know, not because it was Stourbridge, but for her to experience that and go, right, you know, you deserve that. That celebration, because she did it at Stourbridge in 4 when we won 4. She was the unsung hero at CDM. The Michael Carrick of the world, did so much. You know, her reading of the game is understated, and you know, if you're a manager who knows football, you see that 100%. You clock it. And it took me time to see when she first came to Stourbridge. I was unsure. She'd been at Albion, and Mel Rogers seen her, and Mel Rogers had said about her and her dad, and said she's a good player, she is. And at first I was unsure. I didn't necessarily see that come through, and then she just excelled.
Yeah.
I remember leaving her out of the County Cup game against Albion at Sutton Coldfield.
Okay.
I remember actually leaving her out of the squad. I could never think of doing that now. Only to rest her.
Yeah.
At the time I left her out because I wasn't sure she was ready for the 16. I mean, how far football comes.
Yeah.
So yeah, full credit to her. I'm proud of her, what she keeps on doing, and you know, regardless what happens with Kidderminster, I think she's got some great few years ahead left of her.
You mentioned something there describing Elle McGovern's position. I'm not a tactician. I don't watch the game in my brain. Usually I just I feel the emotion, because I'm not clever enough in regards to knowing too much about tactics to kind of get some people's position. The next player I want to bring in is Eloise Harris. Eloise Harris, for me, who's like a standard fan who doesn't know too much about like the ins and outs where people should be on the pitch. Eloise, for me, makes it simple, because she's faster than pretty much anybody else. She can dribble past anybody else, and she can score goals. We've been seeing it all season, and she's one player that didn't come from Stourbridge, so a lot of neutral fans may never have heard of Eloise before this season. She's been great all season. I've been putting the tweets out on the Harriers Twitter page, and she got her moment there, and she would have raised a few eyebrows. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, listen, let's not forget she was National Reserve League Player of the Year. You know, so we knew what we were getting. The first training session she came down, we knew she was at Cheltenham Reserves, who were Tier 3, you know, so there's a good setup. The first session I saw what she could bring to us at this level, 100%. And her qualities are just there. Her left foot is fantastic, her pace is brilliant, but she's 17. And what I like about Eloise is she gets it, she understands it, she hasn't. You know, I'm comfortable with knowing that Eloise, you know, if Eloise was to get a bit bigger offer, you know, I'd be comfortable saying that she'd stick with us, because I mean she gets it that she's developing, and this group all love her. You know, she's a good girl, she's listening, she's developing, she's learning different parts.
Yeah.
obviously she's part of the Albury College situation, so she's getting a lot of football diet, and she's doing it the right way. She's listening, she's learning. She's still got a lot to learn, she's still got a lot to develop, so she's nowhere near the end product, which is exciting. But I think we've got a lot we can work with her. So we just knew, and I've said it, and I'm not going to give too much away, but we knew Eloise was a little bit of she was part of the game plan last Wednesday. She was part of the game plan, and that came through. And the goal that we scored was the game plan. We knew what we could do. We knew the area we could hit, and Eloise was the target of that area. And she's been part of the creation of that, and the finish was just exceptional as well. It wasn't an easy finish, but that's what she does in those positions. I've seen her do it week in, week out. So fair play to her. She deserved it. She's got a lot to keep learning and focusing on, and hopefully she's with us over the next few years. And I can't wait, and I've said this to her, I can't wait for her to be in tier 4. She will be, whether that's with us, next season or whatever, but she'll be there definitely. 17-year-old kid, she's got a lot to share and a lot to give.
Last player, Ellie Maylock. When I think of an Andy Fisher player, I think of passion. I think of someone who wants to win. I think of someone who embraces the whole all friendships and networking. And I saw Ellie May celebrate that second goal, and I just thought, well, something special was happening. Sorry, not second goal, second save that she made, and it's just a memory that's stuck with me. Obviously, a goalkeeper saving penalties on a penalty shootout's massive. Someone that didn't come from Stourbridge either. What are your thoughts on Ellie May, what she's done for you this season so far?
Without Ellie Maylock, we're not in the position we're in. No doubt about it. One thing you've got to have is a strong goalkeeper behind you at any level. I 100% believe that. Ellie Lock will be vital on Sunday when you're up against the Championship. Sorry, Ellie Lock will be vital when you're playing at Stourbridge. When we played the first game of the season, bless her, Ruby had to go in goal. Ellie Lock wasn't there. So when you keeper needs to come and climb a corner that's in the mixer or a deep cross, Elle Lock's there, and she's safe hands. But she's also a great character, and she's had a tough week. Without going into too much, she's had a tough week leading up to that game last week. So that emotion that you saw was probably a lot of that, and she deserved it. She deserved those celebrations. People run towards Al McGovern, but they also run towards Elle Lock, and she set the tone for that penalty shootout. Those first 2 saves are vital. But I've seen her pull off saves at 0-0. And I say to her, that's as good as a goal at the other end. She kept us in the game there, and she's going to be vital for this team. And this, I know she's on loan from Calcer, but I'll be doing my utmost to keep this girl, because she's vital for the backbone and the progression of this team. From her, and our back line, we're just secure. She's an exceptional player, and I'm pleased with Andy Calcer and now that we've got her on board.
You mentioned this Sunday, Blackburn. Were you happy with that draw, or would you prefer like an easier draw, or how do you kind of look at it when you're at your level?
Listen, I think is it also maybe 2 other tier 5 teams? Am I right? I don't even.
I'm not too sure.
I tried to look at it the other day, and if that's the case, regardless, now you against tough opposition. If we're going to bow out, it's Championship. Allow the girls to have that opportunity. I felt like this week they've underestimated what they've got ahead of them. Because this moment, and some of them I've experienced it before, but this moment doesn't come around very often to play in the 3rd round of the FA Cup against Blackburn at Championship. It doesn't happen. And I need the players to get that. I need the players to really relish that, because I ain't sure after the Stourbridge game, they almost feel like it's the norm. It's not the norm. It's not the norm. Yes, I've experienced it before, but that wasn't the norm back then for Stourbridge to play Sheffield United at the War Memorial. So it's a rare occasion. It's a great draw, regardless what happens on Sunday. It's going to be a tough game. We're going to have to play a different way, but we'll relish it. And regardless what happens on Sunday, then we've surpassed our goal and our target, which was 1st round, 2nd round You know, ideally, Matt joked around the third round. Guys, he did. You know, let's get to the third round. Oh, behave yourself. You know, come on. But we're there, and we've done it, and that's great. So it's a great achievement. But the target and the goal is purely the league. You know, we've had the announcement for everybody. We've had the Worcester County Cup quarter-final draw come through yesterday, and that's Bromsgrove Sporting at home. You know, that's quarter-finals of that cup. We'll be looking to kind of retain that because, you know, it wasn't last year, but I think the year before, it was one Killian known for winning that. You know, I think his Worcester will be in there as well. So that's another cup to focus on, but the focus is the league.
Yeah.
So we've done the target now. So they've got to embrace what happens on Sunday.
Yeah. We're
not going to roll over. We're not the type of manager. We're not the type of staff. And these players are not the type of players who'll go, you know, and we'll take a 7-0, 8-0, 9-0 thrashing. You know, we're going to give our heart and desire to this game. But what will be, and we've done what we needed to. Third round of the FA Cup against Blackburn in the Championships. Great.
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You mentioned the league being your priority. Obviously, you backed up that cup win with a win on the weekend against Solihull.
Tough game. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the league this season? Because this league just keeps on getting tougher and tougher, doesn't it? It's the league above as well. Every league's getting tougher.
Every league, yeah. You know, you see that with Leafield, you know, and Sutton at the weekend. You know, it's weird because those kind of grounds where you have to win all your games to make sure you finish top. I mean, we didn't necessarily have to do that with Stourbridge in the end. You know, but you did feel like you have to at the time. That's not the case in the leagues now. You know, when we've said it, other teams have said it. You know, we lost our first game of the season. We're not at the title race.
Yeah.
Nowhere near. You know, we've got Shifnal next Sunday. That's a fixture that's been moved. So people might not necessarily know about that. That's huge. That's a huge game in many avenues because Shifnal are on a great run, deservedly. They're unbeaten in the league. And we've got to change that. We've got to do something about that next Sunday. Is it the be all and end all if we don't get the points that we need? No, I don't think it's the end of the season because the league's just tough.
Yeah.
Solihull Sporting, who started the league, you know, looking like they were going to fold, are a tough outfit. You know, it took 2 really good goals for us to beat them on Sunday. So they're going to, you know, with Solihull Moore's players they've had there, and Tom was there. You know, that they've got a good group. There's no weak team. No beating Shrewsbury. There's no weak team in this division anymore. So everyone's going to take points. That's great. That's exciting for me because the pressure of winning every game is no longer there. You know, like we've shown already. If we lose a game, we pick ourselves back up and we go again. But that Shifnal game it's a cup final game. It's for me a bit of a league defining moment for where the tone goes for the rest of the season. I think if Shifnal beat us, I think they'll be on a road to almost thinking actually we can go on and do this. I think if we beat Shifnal, I think the doors are open for 3 or 4 teams to go on and potentially win the league. Definitely.
Yeah.
So it's a big game, but it's a big game in a great division, and it's an exciting division. We just need to do it the right way, and that's what we're doing. Absolutely.
We're not at Agborough today. Obviously, you've been at work all day, as you do. You work 40 hours a week. How important is it that sometimes we remember that it's not just Andy Fisher, the manager, or the players, as the players. It's about what you do away from there as well. How important is it the fact that you still make time for your day-to-day life, you know, your work, your family, all that kind of stuff as well?
Yeah. I'm glad you've said that because, you know, last interview you did, I was in a suit. Someone decided to comment on it, you know, I was in a suit, you know, tip manager at TFI, I've been at work all day, mate. You know, and it's important to know that because actually you do get that, and you know, I'm here Tuesday and Thursdays, you know, straight from here I'm straight to Stourport for training at 8 o'clock, you know, and it's important to know, and unfortunately it was the driving factor out of the game when I was last in it. You know, tier 3 travelling around the country was tough. Then coming into this job, you know, it wasn't too bad at first because you're in the 6 weeks, you get a bit of a break as a teacher. But when you're back at work, it's tough going. if I ever got to tier 3, I'd do it slightly different, and it would be different this time around. But at that time, it drove me out of the game, because this job is a job. It's the one that pays. It pays the way. I do kid image to completely free, and that's how I want it. I want to do it completely free. I want to do it for the love of it, as opposed to having it as a job or anything like that. You know, and if the money can go elsewhere, it goes elsewhere, and that's important, over staff or players. So the job will always have to be the priority, and it's an intense job. It's a really stressful job, and it's why I took the kid image job. The problem is that, as people know about me, my wife included, is that I don't do things by halves. So kind of I took the kid image job thinking, you know what, you ain't got to win the league first season. You ain't got to get to the third round of the FA Cup, and but that kind of just happens, doesn't it? You know, and you put everything into it, and as people know, is that I'm meticulous about everything we do. So I'm looking at footage when I'm having my rest down time, and I do need to manage that, because it can become too much for the family life, and you know, I've got a child as well. But it's what makes us what we do, and I feel if I can't put that extra bit in, if I can't do the Andy Fisher bit that's made us successful over the years, players aren't going to get the best opportunities, and that's what it's for. So I need to make sure I have to put that extra effort in, that extra time for the footage, and be meticulous in the chat, and be switched on all the time with football to make sure the players get the best opportunities. You know, and there's been a lot of debate about where we were going to play Blackburn and the old Ladbroke conversation and stuff like that. But there's a reason why we're playing at Stourbridge, and there was a lot of back and forth. Well, I had to put that time in. Same with the Stourbridge game. We had to make sure it was midweek. We had to put that time in, and Matt did a lot to do that. We had to put that time in because the opportunity for the players has to be right. So it is hard managing it. I love the job I do, but it's stressful. But I love the game. I love football. So you know, balancing the two can be tough. It can be impact family life definitely, but it's finding that happy medium. Whether I've got that happy medium, I don't know. I said to you, didn't I? That's what I said to, I think, Kev in the Switch interview. Will I ever do the middle ground? You know, will I ever be able to be in that position where we're just mid-table and just enjoy being in that division? If we get to tier 4, that's where I want to be. That's where I want the players to be. I want to be in a position where you're just enjoying and embracing tier 4. It's one regret of what we did at Stourbridge for me. Said it loads of times, is that I enjoyed winning the league, but because we went, you know, you didn't embrace the division at the National League, and that tier 4, it's a great division to be part of. You know, everyone that's part of it now, just embrace it, enjoy it, love the quality of it, the organisation of it, the discipline of it, and just embrace that, as opposed to feeling like you've got to be up the top end and getting into tier 3, because that tier 3 is a different ball game. But no, thanks for asking about that. You know, because it's important for people to know that you know, and it's the same with other people. Not you know, not others have got jobs as well to go with this. But the demand of a manager is really tough, both mentally and physically. And fair play to everybody that does it. They need more looking after. Because we're at that point now where we're looking after players more. We've got to keep growing that 100%, especially in those higher tiers where players are working part time. I mean, but Blackburn will be similar, I imagine. They've done a bit of homework on them, and you know, are they having to do their jobs as well as maintain a championship? And we know how tough that can be. So there's a lot more to be done there. But managers and coaches need to look after as well, because there's a lot of demand on them now as well.
Christmas period is coming up. So it's New Year. So we'll talk about a little bit about Christmas wish and New Year's resolution. So maybe regarding your New Year's resolution, all football based, of course. What is it that you maybe look at doing next year that's maybe different to this year? And also a Christmas wish, what, you know, realistically, what is it that you would like to achieve going into the New Year?
So we set our goal out top 3 at the start of the season, and a good FA Cup run. I think we've done the good FA Cup run. I'm disappointed with the League Cup. We mixed and matched it a little bit against Shrewsbury, and I wanted to give the girls an occasion in a cup final, because I think that's important. Whether that's this season or next season, you know, that'll come. The Worcester County Cup's our opportunity to do that. So that's still there. We're still in a very strong position in the league, regardless of a couple of results that I felt we should have done better in. The game next Sunday, as I've said, is really key to where January sits us. Okay, so if we go and we get a decent result against Shifnal, whatever that looks, we get points against Shifnal, we're still in the race, and that's important. If we do that, I think we can have a good second half to the season, and I think we can push for National League. I believe that, but we've got to face Shifnal. We've got to get a positive result there. If we don't beat Shifnal, it's going to make it really difficult. I don't think it's done and dusted. I think there's twists and turns, but I just feel with my teams, I feel with this group, if we're in a good position come the end of December, start of January, I think it will set the tone for the remainder of the year, and I think we'll really kick on, and I think we'll be the team to beat.
Yeah.
But we've got to get to that point. So wish list is positive result in the next 2 weeks. That includes Blackburn. Positive result in the next 2 weeks, and then we can kick on and we aim for top two.
Excellent. Just a couple of minutes left, Andy. Just a message for the fans. So obviously you've had so much support, even from neutrals, even from people who don't even know you or may know your name but have never seen you manage on the sideline. I think this Kiddie Minister, Stourbridge, FA Cup, done you wonders even without the results going into the game. All eyes were on there. I suppose just a little word to the fans who are maybe new to you this season, and maybe some of your loyal ones from the past few years as well. What would you like to say to them?
Well, I think firstly, the big thing about last Wednesday was, can he go and do it all again? Can he do it without with different staff? I know I've got H and some of the other staff, and can we go and build that kind of culture that we tried to build at Stourbridge, where from day one, where it was desire for the kit and the badge, and we've got that already, which is great. But I've learned from my time in Stourbridge, and we've got to change a few things. We've got to make sure we get things right this time in certain areas. So that's happening, and I think we're proving that. Kiddie are now on the map, and that's not a me thing. That's an us thing. That's the players, the staff behind the scenes in Kidderminster Harriers as a club. That's important. For me now, it's just building that fan base and coming down. People have had taste of it, of what it's all about. The fans are more important than most things, and we've got to build that fan base to build Kidderminster Harriers women growing, because players feel it, that they feel that it pushes them on. It's the 12th man. A bit of a cliche in a sense, but the 12th man it makes a massive difference. And I generally believe the success that we've had in the past with Stourbridge was driven by the fans and driven by the attendances we were getting. So we've got to get that down now. We've got to start seeing that down, whether it's cosy or not. Regardless what people might comment about cosy, the time will come where we will be playing at similar grounds. To that what we need to be. It's very different when it's a full-sided proper stadium with Kidderminster Harriers. And there's other clubs already contracted on there. It's very difficult. So I'm supportive of that with the club. I understand that from a club's point of view. Man United don't play at Old Trafford every week. That's it. Wolves don't play at Molineux every week, and that's the same. It's a full-sided stadium. Just get behind us, support us, back us. There's an exciting journey here. You know it yourself because you've been on it with us previously at other clubs. It's great to get on it. So that's what I want. I want the fans to kind of back the team, back the group, and get behind the journey. It's going to be exciting 2 or 3 years.